We think we live in our homes alone. In fact, we are outnumbered by millions to one. Even in the best-kept homes, in our walls, carpets, furniture, and beds, dwell countless uninvited guests we rarely have occasion to see. Our homes are also the setting for strange and amazing sights, invisible phenomena beyond the reach of our eyes. If we look a little closer at our own familiar world, it becomes a realm of mystery, adventure, and surprise. Hidden all around us, in places we think we know, lie unsuspected wonders which are part of our everyday lives. Join us now on a voyage of discovery beyond the limits of the naked eye. Join us on an expedition through an average American home as we explore the secret life of 118 Green Street. Welcome to 118 Green Street, an ordinary house on a pleasant street in an average American town. It's a well-kept home, normal in every way, yet hidden from our notice and the limited power of our eyes lies a world of life and phenomena that can rival our wildest dreams. This house, which could well be yours or mine, is the home of the Herbert family, Jack and Sally, and their kids, Nick and Gracie. There's also their dog, Roscoe, their cat, Boris, and a goldfish named Sushi. On this bright early Saturday morning, the Herberts are still asleep, but they are far from being alone. In the beds of even the best-kept homes dwell microscopic dust mites too small for our eyes to see. Sightless and harmless, they may number in the millions, yet remain far too minute to ever wake us up. If we could see through different eyes, the job of making breakfast would be a vigorous morning workout. And if our eyes could slow time down, an insignificant drip would become a water ballet. While our daily lives at home may at times seem dull and mundane, there is beauty and wonder concealed in the most ordinary acts. In a broken, discarded eggshell hides a marvel of engineering which explains the shell's incredible strength. Its seemingly smooth surface is actually an interlaced web of elastic protein fibers. The familiar household world we see is just a tiny aspect of what really takes place all around us. Even the lord of the manor is blind to the beauty in a splash of cream. And his eyes are also unable to see the microscopic droplets of animal fat that float through cream and give it most of its flavor. We also rarely notice the abundant wildlife that happily inhabits our homes. Uninvited house guests who have lived with us since the time when a man's home was his cave. Meet Tegenaria domestica, the common house spider. Like it or not, animals have always shared the shelter and security our homes provide, and that squeak from your refrigerator may not be a loose pulley, but a cricket who can always find the meager nourishment he needs somewhere on the kitchen floor. On some days, sustenance arrives in overwhelming abundance. As we perform our routine chores, our fellow residents quietly carry on their daily, sometimes daring job of survival. An overlooked cracker is an irresistible snack for this stealthy opportunist who has been pilfering our food for more than 5,000 years. The house mouse evolved on the steppes of Central Asia, from where it followed man throughout the world, always making good use of the living conditions he provided. Resourcefulness and adaptability have been the secrets of mouse survival, and this clever member of the Herbert household has found a comfortable niche in the wall behind the dryer. The teeming wildlife of our homes can be discovered in the most unlikely places. Magnify a well-used scouring pad several thousand times, and several million creatures might appear before your eyes. They are microscopic bacteria, feasting on specks of grease. Damp sponges are another favorite home for bacteria, and sponging a counter is an ideal way to spread them neatly about. Fortunately, most household bacteria are harmless and often help us by devouring less desirable types. Unlike invisible bacteria, some house guests leave evidence of their presence.
Honey, I think we've got a mouse.
I'll set a trap tonight.
Mice have bravely faced such threats for countless generations. And for at least as long as mice have made use of our homes, men have been performing this tedious morning routine. During his life, the average man will shave more than 20,000 times. It's a task that seems almost boringly familiar, until we take a closer look. Magnified thousands of times, our facial skin reveals itself as a rough and rugged terrain. Looming out of this landscape like giant tree stumps are whiskers awaiting a shave. The sharp-looking razor that will slice the whiskers away is, on closer inspection, a jagged edge of steel. No matter where we go, we are never completely alone. Our skin itself provides a comfortable home for a wide array of life evolved with us over millions of years. In the roots of everyone's eyelashes dwell tiny invisible follicle mites known as Demodex folliculorum. They seem to cause us no harm, but no one really knows exactly why they are there. The nooks and crannies of our skin also support forms of plant life. Constantly dwelling upon us are microscopic yeast cells, primitive floral blooms that sow themselves when we are born and stay with us till we die. In the warm, moist regions of our body's landscape, fungi grow and thrive, often in startling profusion. washing does little to rid our skin of the creatures who make it their home. We can scrub away dirt and newly arrived germs, but not even disinfectant will remove the harmless bacteria that normally reside there. The warmth of a shower can actually cause their numbers to rapidly grow, yet at any given time, there are roughly as many bacteria on our bodies as there are people on Earth. Our billions of fellow travelers, however, should not be cause for alarm, for without them, we could not survive. In the daily routine of our lives at home lie extraordinary sights beyond our vision's grasp. A stretching cotton T-shirt magnified 300 times is a marvel of engineering which eludes our naked eyes. Sometimes, no matter how hard we stretch, it is virtually impossible to get a T-shirt on. Removing dirt from our clothing is an endless household chore, and our eyes provide but a limited view of ring around the collar. This is a dirty collar magnified 400 times. After a run through the washer and dryer, it's clean and fresh as new. Ring around the bathtub can be a more challenging problem. A chance encounter with a bathtub spider should not be occasion for fear. This insect-catching houseguest is helpful and totally harmless. When our vision is expanded beyond the power of our eyes, the most commonplace of household events takes on new dimension. If we were not prisoners of our limited senses, the simple chore of washing the dog would be a new and surprising experience, and a dog's simple act of shaking dry would be a source of wonder. It is usually with something less than wild enthusiasm that we perform those important weekend chores like mowing the lawn. Jack Herbert of 118 Green Street is no exception, especially when a stubborn engine stands in the way of his manly work. The subtle secrets of starting a mower are trivial when compared to the mysteries of a primitive creature that lives on the Herbert's lawn. In one of its several forms, this strange science fiction-like organism oozes through the backyard, engulfing all that it meets. The creature is a slime mold, an ancient form of fungus which during its bizarre life cycle will seemingly transform itself from a cell to an animal to a plant. The slime mold's life cycle begins in a microscopic spectacle called aggregation. Mysteriously attracted by chemical scent, millions of separate fungal cells stream mindlessly together to form into tiny slugs. About as long as a dime is thick, the fungal slug now behaves like a multicellular animal, crawling, sometimes for days, At a millimeter per hour, they exude a film of slime as they make their way to a spot on the lawn where light and heat seem right for the next strange transformation. The lowly, unseen slime mold now begins a metamorphosis of miraculous proportion. The slime-oozing fungal slug reaches for the sky in the form of a primitive, light-hungry plant. The cells that form the slender rising stalk will die and harden soon after they have grown, but the cells that make up the tip of the plant will turn themselves into spores with the chance of becoming the next generation of singular slime mold cells. Since millions of years before the dawn of man, the slime mold has reproduced itself in this seemingly alien way. Yet in its unusual life cycle lies an evolutionary logic that may have been the basis for every form of life. With their transmogrification complete, the spores at the tip of the slime mold now wait to be transported to a new place in the garden, where the cycle can start anew. In the Herberts' verdant backyard, the task will be performed by an unsuspecting sow bug searching for a meal. In the course of the constant struggle to meet the demands of maintaining our yards, we rarely have occasion to witness the struggles for survival taking place all around us. Jack Herbert's mission today is a neat and closely cropped lawn, but in his work he is blind to events occurring just under his feet. The noise and vibration of the mower have launched a colony of harvester ants into a sudden frenzy. Specialized workers instinctively carry the colony's precious eggs to the deepest chambers of the nest for greater protection from the unknown juggernaut outside. Meanwhile, the constant work of the colony goes on. A foraging party has discovered a cricket in the flower bed. It is a rare and valuable find, which will contribute plentifully to the colony's enormous food requirements. Workers quickly begin the job of dissecting the massive insect in order to carry it back piece by piece. Good fortune, however, can be a fleeting thing. A rival colony of red harvester ants has now also spotted the cricket. In a single, bold, coordinated move, the red ants fiercely attack. The highly aggressive red ants are equipped with venomous stingers. The black ants have only their powerful mandibles. With an instinctive act of violence, the tide is gradually turned. The black ants repel the invaders. The cost in life is enormous, but in the natural world of the ant, the prize is worth the price. Fatigue is the price Jack Herbert pays for his vigorous bout with the lawn. Among the ants that share his yard, there is no chance for rest. The dictate of survival is that work can never cease. New frontiers must be bravely explored in the constant quest for food. The long and demanding journey proves to be worth the effort. A bonanza of chocolate chip cookies is the ants' well-earned reward. For the ever-ravenous colony, this delectable sugar-rich bounty will provide a welcome feast. The cookies had been intended as a treat for after lunch, but Sally Herbert has yet to notice how ants have changed her plans. Sally's concern of the moment is getting some ice cubes made. If Sally Herbert were many times smaller and peering into her ice tray, she would see a phenomenon called crystallization and witness the birth of an ice cube.
Lunch is ready.
For the human inhabitants of the Herbert house, food in abundance is taken for granted. Lunch is seen more as a daily routine than a requisite for survival. The Herberts' perception of their food's true nature is also extremely narrow. A potato chip, for example, is really a rugged landscape created from starch and fat. A closer look at our most common condiments shows salt to resemble a rock pile. The spiky structure of pepper reflects its actual taste. Bread, our ancient staff of life, takes on a different character when magnified 100 times, and if we don't eat our bread when it's fresh, the aspergillus mold will. The Herberts are far from the only ones having a midday meal. The very table they are eating from is also being devoured by microscopic fungi with an appetite for wood. Left completely unchecked, they could consume the Herberts' table in several hundred years. Jack Herbert's home could be devoured in an even shorter time by the army of voracious insects living inside his walls. Over millions of years, these tiny creatures have developed the ability to eat and digest raw wood. They are commonly known as termites, and there are few homes that don't have them eagerly chewing away at the ceilings, walls, and floors. Termites digest the wood they eat with the help of protozoa, microscopic, single-celled animals which live in their intestines. Though completely blind and deaf, the termite is a tireless worker who has been here longer than the oldest dinosaurs and continues still to thrive. As the Herberts continue to enjoy their lunch, they remain completely oblivious to the eating all around them. In the bedroom dresser, a clothing moth munches away on a sweater. By the time the winged moth emerges, the damage is already done. In the den, a pair of book lice are eating a page of the atlas. In the living room, a carpet beetle larva prepares to chew on the rug. Meanwhile, in the sofa, a developing larval flea snacks on the upholstery. In the Herberts' kitchen, a hungry pantry beetle dines on a pile of spilt flour. If the feeding habits of our tiny house guests seem somewhat strange or bizarre, we might reflect on our own way of eating through a pair of X-ray eyes. No family luncheon would be complete without a visit from an airborne guest whom we all know as the housefly. Scientists know him as Musca domestica, an annoying and dangerous pest. For as long as there have been houseflies have shared our homes and made our lives less pleasant. They have followed man throughout the world as carriers of filth and disease. Of the myriad creatures who reside in our homes, the housefly is among the most dangerous. Its life may begin in a garbage can just outside the house. There, a fertilized female will lay a single batch of about 100 eggs. Overnight, the eggs transform into maggots, blind, squirming larval flies that devour the rotting slime in which they thrive. After about a week, When the maggots are plump and flown, their outer skins harden to become the cases from which the flies emerge. Using a balloon-like sac that distends from inside the head, the fly painstakingly forces itself into the outside world. Within a matter of minutes, it is ready to invade our homes. Whenever a housefly feeds, it regurgitates part of its previous meals through its sponge-like proboscis. This disgusting habit alone makes him an unwelcome guest, especially if an earlier meal might have been something unsavory.
Hey, out of here. Honey, where's the fly swatter?
It's for you. Oh, it's in the kitchen.
Jack Herbert has had enough. He has decided to eradicate this annoying, germ-covered, dung-vomiting, disease-infested household pest.
Where's the fly?
He went that way.
The task is not as simple as it seems, for the housefly has the makings of a formidable opponent. Jack Herbert is determined to defeat his foe, but before the battle begins, let's compare the competitors. Jack Herbert is 36 years old, stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, and weighs 190 pounds. He's an intelligent human being with athletic ability and quick reflexes. Now, the housefly is 2 weeks old, stands 1/4 of an inch tall, and weighs in at 1/10 of an ounce. He's small, but has great natural instincts. He's also equipped with a powerful thorax that can flap his wings at more than 200 times a second. His 2 large eyes have 4,000 separate lenses which see in almost every direction at once. His wings are covered with minute hairs that help make possible aerobatic flight. Now let's get back to this David and Goliath battle. Jack Herbert swings, misses, and at 30 miles an hour the housefly flees across the room. Searching carefully for his tiny antagonist, Jack Herbert spots it on the living room bookshelf. He takes his second swing, and once more he misses. The fast, agile housefly has eluded him again. A wild swing drives the fly into the kitchen. Jack swings again, and misses. So far, the housefly is ahead on points. More determined now than ever, Jack Herbert sets up for what may be a knockout. Another embarrassing miss. Now, he attempts his wicked backhand. It's just not wicked enough. Jack's wily opponent has a nervous system that functions 10 times faster than his own, and it's throwing him way off balance. The housefly has performed a tricky upside-down landing, a technique evolved over millions of years. Jack Herbert responds with the clever use of a footstool. He swings and misses again. Both Jack and the housefly are obviously tiring, but Jack swings yet again. He slips off the footstool. He's going down, and so is the housefly. The housefly is down, but not out. Jack Herbert is shaken and back on his feet. Now is Jack's chance to deliver the knockout. Jack Herbert is the winner! In every American home, no matter how clean and well scrubbed, there blows a constant blizzard of microscopic dust. About 1 million particles per cubic inch are constantly swirling around us. Enlarged 3,000 times, dust looks like this. But dust is made up of even smaller particles, such as pollen grains and minute fungus spores, as well as plant fibers, insect limbs, spider webs, flies' eyes, hair, lint, moth wings, ash, soot, and more than anything else, flakes of shed human skin. The very act of dusting creates more dust, for with every move we make, millions of invisible skin flakes are launched from our bodies into the air. Our bodies shed about 50 million skin scales each day. In fact, we shed our entire skin every 28 days, and the large flakes that fall to the carpet do not go to waste. Lurking deep inside our rugs are microscopic herds of dust mites, which eagerly devour our cast-off skin. Each flake provides a nourishing meal and is their primary source of food. Ancient relatives of spiders, dust mites have 8 legs, but no eyes with which to see. Their sensory world is one of touch and smell, of temperature and humidity. Population in our homes can in the tens of millions, but because they are too small to see, we never know they are there. The vacuum cleaner is our major weapon against the tiny dust mites, but it will not end their lives. By sucking up a dust mite into the vacuum bag, we merely provide a new home. A dust mite's lifespan is from 40 to 60 days, and in the darkness of the dust bag, which is stocked with ample food, mites can go on living and breeding for hundreds of generations. Another denizen of our rugs is the tiny carpet beetle. This creature thrives by chewing the marrow out of the carpet's wool fibers, but this is not his lucky day. The noise of the vacuum cleaner doesn't please the family cat, but even more bothersome is what the vacuum stirs into the air. Millions of Americans are specifically allergic to inhaled dust mites or their fecal pellets, which can bring on a mighty sneeze. Any itching we might experience while sitting in a room is usually caused by another house guest who dwells in the depths of the rug. The common flea often uses the carpet as a place to lay its eggs. In about 3 weeks, a newborn flea emerges from its cocoon and begins a search for a suitable host from which to draw its first meal. In the case of this fortunate bloodthirsty flea, a cat is resting nearby. As it siphons a few drops of blood, it fulfills its role as a parasite. Yet fleas themselves can have parasites in the form of tiny mites who have found a niche between the plates that form the flea's armored back. This ironic fact is of little consolation to a flea-bitten cat. But today, Sally Herbert, in cleaning her house, will avenge her innocent pet. By using timbers to build our homes, we also provide a domestic habitat for the creatures of the forest. This insatiable blob, with an appetite for wood, is the larval form of the house longhorn wood beetle. The Herberts may never see him, for he'll spend as long as 30 years chewing his way through their ceiling beams with his 2 sharp chisel-like jaws. Our households are not at all what they seem, even in the most peaceful moments. If we could see what really happens during an afternoon nap, the phrase, "sleeping like a baby," would have a whole new meaning. With Gracie still contentedly napping and Nick playing with his toys, Mom finally has time to devote some attention to her beautiful garden. Yet, what is for Sally Herbert a relaxing and tranquil time is for the garden itself an extremely disturbing experience. The chaos Sally Herbert creates is a wonder she cannot witness. Out of this roiling violence, beauty and new life are born, in full, spectacular abundance. There are countless other wonders throughout the Herbert house, some hidden in something as simple as the threading of a needle. Enlarged 200 times, both the needle and the thread reveal their real nature. We usually think of a pin as extremely sharp and pointed, but that is far from the truth. The tip is actually dull and crawling with bacteria. In a barely visible sand grain on the floor of the Herbert's house lies an intricate microscape that eludes the naked eye. If we move in even closer on this tiny grain of sand, strange new worlds appear. At a magnification of 25 million, the equivalent of enlarging your television set to roughly the size of the Earth, we see atoms. These are actual pictures of atoms. Each individual atom is about 15 billionths of an inch across. Surrounding each atom is a particle cloud, created by electrons swirling around the nucleus. These are the basic building blocks of everything in the Herbert household, including the Herberts themselves. If our eyes were blind to light but sensitive to heat, our homes would assume a fantastic new appearance, and supper might seem surreal. An explosive flash at the table would be the lighting of a candle. The elixir that turns your mouth bright blue would be a tasty glass of wine. The infrared wavelengths of heat are part of the electromagnetic spectrum, just beyond visible light. Reds and whites are the warmest temperatures, violets and blues the coldest. It is a pure and separate reality hidden from our normal senses, yet part of our everyday lives. The time has now arrived for the children's evening bath. Soap bubbles make it all the more fun, but if Nick and Gracie's eyes could see the surface of a bubble close up, their happy time in the tub would take on an aura of magic. Soap bubbles are made of layers of fat with water flowing between them, and they are among the thinnest things the naked eye can see. True to his morning promise, Jack Herbert now sets the trap that he hopes will catch the mouse still lurking inside his home. It is sad, perhaps, that our natural impulse when encountering household pests brings us so quickly to violence. Outside, in the Herberts' backyard, a garden spider sets a trap of its own, an exquisite trap of nature's design. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, Nick does his nightly battle against an enemy called plaque. If our eyes could enlarge a single tooth more than 10,000 times, we would see the nasty culprit that causes our teeth to decay. It is a microscopic stew of bacteria, saliva, and food. It's been a long day for the Herbert family, and now that the kids are peacefully in bed, there's finally time for Mom and Dad to settle down and relax.
What is going on here?
It's not what you think. I can explain.
Who is this, Jasper? What do you mean, who is this? I'm his wife.
Jack's favorite evening pastime is watching TV in the den, an idle pursuit which sometimes moves him to quietly fall asleep.
What?
Wait, Mona.
Just a few feet beyond the den window, in the Herberts' lovely front yard, a monster is being born. The creature is a female mosquito. As Jack Herbert dozes through his movie, he faces insidious peril. The mosquito is endowed with a variety of senses that includes the ability to see in infrared. From the insect's point of view, the warm, blood-filled body of Jack Herbert shines like a neon restaurant sign in the night.
Why don't we go out?
While Jack continues to snooze, the mosquito in his arm drills for a blood-filled capillary. At the same time, it injects through its saliva both anesthetic and anticoagulant.
Mona, wait. I can explain.
Jack's blood won't clot, and he'll feel no pain when the mosquito has her meal. Rushing to engorge herself before the painkillers and blood thinners wear off, the mosquito sucks out at least her weight in Jack Herbert's rich, warm blood.
I think I've had enough. So long.
Wait.
Sorry to have to do this, darling.
Nadine!
More quickly than Jack can react, the mosquito has finished and gone. The house is quiet now, and other night creatures, such as the cockroach, sense that it is safe enough to find their evening meals. For every cockroach we might see, there are at least a dozen more inside the wall. A bee has spent much of the day losing its strength to the web of a spider, who will now take him out to eat. On an open cookbook, a silverfish eats the page. The starch, glue, and cellulose of the paper provide all the nourishment needed by this most primitive of insects, more ancient than even the cockroach. Silverfish, in fact, are tiny, living fossils, and to behold this lowly creature is to stare 300 million years back in time. For the Herberts' hungry house mouse, now is usually the safest time to forage the kitchen for food.
Good night.
As Jack and Sally Herbert settle snugly into bed, their home seems safe and secure, and they remain completely unaware of the dramatic life and death struggle about to unfold on their kitchen floor.
Did you hear something?